All right, welcome everyone to Chalice and Chains. My name is Sam, and today I will be reviewing an amazing RPG product that I believe should be a part of every GM's library if you run sci-fi or space opera games. So the product that I'm reviewing today is the Starrunner Kit Black Hole Edition by Mike Evans. Check out the description below for where you can find out more about Mike, where you can get your own copy of the Starrunner Kit, and some various other information, including where he can be found on social media and stuff like that. Also, I want to make sure that you stay tuned to the very end of this video so that you can learn how you can enter to win a free copy of the Starrunner Kit. Let's go. All right, guys. So I want to go ahead and show you the Starrunner Kit. I'm going to go through kind of chapter by chapter really quick, just telling you what's in this book, giving you an idea of what you can find in here, and then also what you're going to be able to take away from this book and why I think it is just the perfect source. So stick with me here and we will take a look at that. All right, so the first thing is, you can see here, table of contents, chapter 1, 6 pages. All right. This gives you everything that you need to know to run this game. And these are the Black Hack rules developed by David Black. So very simple OSR rule set. This gives you everything you need to play. So you don't need to purchase a copy of the Black Hack to be able to play this game. Now, if you want to, you certainly can, and that will be available. The SRD, as well as the link to where you can pick it up at DriveThruRPG, will also be in the description below. So make sure you check that out, but it is not necessary. Now, one thing I wanted to point out really quick here, you can see armor points here. This is different from how you might be familiar if you know the Black Hack. That one basically treats armor as damage reduction, but you have a certain amount of points. Once those points are used up, that's it. What this does, and I think this is genius, what Mike did here was he basically made it so that you have armor points which use a reduction die. So I like that a lot. All right. So I'm going to go through here. Basically, again, you've got the 6 pages for the rules. You've got the armor rules. And then at the very end, it has rules for contacts. And I really like this because what he does basically is he is setting up rules for essentially NPCs that you will be able to interact with immediately in the game. So I'm very excited about that because this is something that I don't believe that the Black Hack had, but I think that this is something, especially if you're looking to play a game like Firefly or, you know, an Edge of the Empire style Star Wars game. This is going to be very important. Chapter 2, you basically have your archetypes for your races, and then you have 11 classes. Now, unlike the previous version of the Starrunner Kit, which was based on the White Star role-playing game by James Spahn, the Black Hole Edition, because it's based on the Black Hack doesn't technically have levels, and it doesn't do race as class like some of the original D&D games did. So instead what he's done is he's done archetypes. And archetypes are really useful because what they do is they allow you basically to create an alien species. So if you wanted to play again in Star Wars, it gives you something to do. And you can take a look at it here. You basically choose 2 things, right? You choose one physical attribute. So you might be agile, aquatic, cold resistant, right? Something like that, techno-organic. And then you choose a mental attribute as well, right? And so these are 2 things that you add to your character at the beginning of play to represent your race. If you're a human, you don't do those, but instead you start with an additional D4 hit dice or hit points, and you can roll to increase both your preferred attributes for the chosen class at first level. So the way this game works with leveling up is you roll on your attributes, and your two prime attributes you get to roll twice. And if you roll above the already assigned attribute, you can gain another point in that. And this is a roll under system, so that's hugely important. All right, and then you can see here, they go through some of the different classes and what they offer for classes. So like I said, there's 11 classes in this game: Assassin, Bionic Soldier, Combat Medic, Diplomat, Gun for Hire, Hoverbike Racer, which is awesome, Pilot, Scoundrel, Scout, Tech Specialist, and the Psychic. And of course, the Psychic is important because, really, in any game, you're going to want that kind of weird psychic vibe. So this allows you to have that. Now, what I want to do really quick is point out, if you take a look at the Assassin class here, right, it gives a little bit of a description, shows your starting hit points per level, armor and damage. And in this game, you have a class damage die, not per weapon. So you're always going to roll a d8 no matter what weapon you're using. But then look at this, special features. So he's got Deadly Aim, Deadly Strike, Hand-to-hand Combat, and Stealth. That's it. There are no abilities or feats or whatever gained as you level up. This is what you've got. And then you can see starting equipment as well. So I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but this is a very, very simple system, and I like it for that. All right, so that's essentially Chapter 2, but the last thing that I needed to show you in Chapter 2, they have done hacking rules. Now, this is so good, because I first actually encountered these hacking rules in his cyber hack, I think it's cyber hacked, black hack for basically created for Cyberpunk. And I'll put a link to that as well in the description below if you want to check that out, especially if you just want to play Cyberpunk. But essentially what he does for hacking is he says, all right, if you're just doing something very simple, nothing too elaborate, nothing that needs to spend scene time on, just roll your initiative test, your intelligence test like you normally would, right? But if it's going to be more important than that, then he came up with a dice drop system. And this is brilliant, right? So what it'll show is, and you can see here, drop a number of D4s, D6s, D8s, D10s, whatever. These are the pathways to traverse to get to the goal that you want, right? So you do a dice drop system here like you would for, certain adventure creations, for example. And you can see this is how it's kind of laid out, right? So this is an exceptional way of doing hacking. And what this does is this allows you to do hacking kind of on the fly. So if you're running a game and for whatever reason your PCs decide they're going to hack into something and you haven't planned for that, you've got a good setup here to do that. All right. Excellent. So we'll jump to Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is the equipment chapter. Pretty standard. It basically just gives you the prices and the descriptions for what the different, armor and equipment and weapons do. But like we discussed before, armor has, it's light, medium, or heavy, and it has a usage die. And weapons don't have individual damage. The class has damage. So those, basically you're getting cost and ranges for weapons. And then if there's a certain special ability like full auto, that might have a description in there as well. But what's important and what I think is cool about Chapter 3 is near the end you have things like black market services. You have drugs, which in a cyberpunk setting, again, is really important. What they can do and different things there. You have help wanted ads. So basically talking about, the cost for hirelings, essentially. And that's really important because I know a lot of OSR games, you need hirelings to help you. This gives you a way to do that. And then really the next biggest thing in this chapter, and the last thing that we'll talk about in Chapter 3, is cyberware. It gives you different lists of cyberware. It'll give you the price for them. You can see that here, right? Cyberware. So that's really nice. And again, if you're playing in a cyberpunk setting, obviously that's important. Chapter 4, check this out: vehicles, mechs, and starships. So they use largely the same rules as characters do, right? Your mechs, your vehicles, your starships, they all have hit dice. They all have shield points, which, works similar to armor in, for personal combat. They have different combat scales, though. So, for example, a mech is going to deal a whole lot more damage to an individual than an individual would to a mech, and vice versa, right? So they take that scale into account. And you can see here, there is a table here: type of defender, type of attacker, the different types of damage that they do. If you want that level of granularity, you have it, but it's certainly not necessary. All right. So I like this a lot. The chapter, it gives you stats for, like I said, the vehicles, the mechs, which is cool because, who doesn't want to be able to run a mecha game once in a while? And in a rules-light system, that's a lot of fun. It also gives mods and how you can modify them. And then it gives you the starships and, how you can do starship combat, different starship systems, how to repair them, doing maneuvers and stuff like that. And then obviously the stats for the different types of ships. And it gives you a good amount of ships in this book. So you're not going to need to go anywhere else to be able to do this. It also gives you starship modifications, which again is awesome because you're going to be able to modify those. So if you're playing a Firefly game and your ship is always, in need of repair or in need of upgrade, you have the ability to do that. All right. Chapter 5, you have adversaries. It starts right out with an alien generator. So check this out, right? You've got alien appearance. You've got species, average, I think, hit dice, special features, characteristics, special abilities, names, and then sample adversaries, right? So you'll start to see a theme throughout this book. He uses a lot of roll tables, and to me, that is invaluable. But what this basically has done is this allows you to create enemies or even just NPCs, interesting NPCs on the fly, aliens in particular. And then obviously there are lists of adversaries here statted out for you so that you can use those if you need to. So I really like that a lot. I mean, I think that that's a feature that is super helpful. And what it does is it can help you in prep in advance of running the game, or if you're in need of something on the fly, you can quickly turn to that page and get those stats. But chapter 6, the GM tools, this is worth its weight in gold. If you got nothing else out of this book, if you don't want to use this for Black Hack, this is still a valuable resource to you for this chapter. So let's take a look. All right. Chapter 6, Tools and Tables, starts right off with what happened between sessions. So this is great, right? This is kind of, you see something similar to this in Savage Worlds. But what is really nice here is this gives you the ability to roll on a d6, and the characters now have a role play opportunity to say, okay, what happened between last session and this session? So specific jobs, right? D20 table, this can roll on a specific list of jobs that you might encounter. So again, if you need something, you're prepping for a game, you want to have them go on a job, it's a Firefly style game, you could run with this roll table, roll on it. And let's say you roll a 13. So that's delicate cargo of lost tech needs to be transported to a university for study in the core worlds. It is believed the knowledge of the cargo has been leaked to pirates, right? So that gives you a ton to work with right there. This is huge. But if you don't want something specific, check this out. You got a more generic job generator. And basically, it's a D20 table, but what you can do is you can roll it basically 4 times if you wanted to. You have who the client is, what they want, what the action is, and then a noun, right? Random encounters, ground bound is the next table in here, right? And this is a D100 table. If you're on a planet, random encounters. Really cool. Next thing is city hustle and bustle. If you are in a city and you need to add flavor to that city, maybe, this is something that came up on the fly during the game, you've got roll tables here that can help you. So the next one, interesting people. Again, same deal, right? Name, last name, profession, description, NPC generator. Who doesn't want this? This is brilliant, okay? And then more on aliens. And this is the part that I like here, is that this can give you culture, races, stuff like that, right? So this might be useful here as well. But what's really cool about this part is the alien artifact generator. Weird space religions is next. And again, a lot of that is more flavor than anything else, but it adds to your universe. It adds to your galaxy. It adds that flavor, and you can do it on the fly if you need to. The next section in here, looting their body. This one is super important to me and super helpful, because how many times have you been in a situation where they gun down a bunch of thugs or pirates or whatever, and you're saying, and then they say, okay, what's on the body? And all of a sudden you have to scramble to come up with something. So that's awesome. Next up is a merchant generator. Again, gives you more information here. D20 table to, if you're going into a shop and you need a merchant, here you go, right there. Next up then is getting where you're going. And this is cool because this gives you basically, your origination, destination, how long it takes, and, what complication on a piloting check. So this is really cool if you're playing a game where time and distance is important. And it gives you some tables for that if you don't want to have to make it all up on, by yourself. Cargo prices. So obviously, playing a smuggler game, something like Firefly, that's going to be helpful. Available travelers and what they might pay, all of that is a big deal as well. Guide to star running. This is important because this basically gives you, it's sort of like a random encounter generator, but it also does things like, okay, does something happen to your ship? Is your ship fine? Is there a specific system that's damaged? What's the extent of that damage? What do you learn? Maybe you encounter a space station. Maybe there's solar flares. It's basically random encounters for while you are traveling through space. And then it breaks it down into specifics. Space station encounter table, starship encounter table, what's in space. So this is the sector generator. This is awesome. I love this part of if nothing else, this is huge, right? Stars Without Number had a sector generator as well, which I think is a go-to for a lot of people when they want random roll tables. But this one is very helpful. And you can see here, you roll on here, and I think it's it's a D20 table. So let's say you roll a 14. Maybe, in this sector of space, there's a science space station. And then you roll a D4, and depending on what you roll, let's say you roll a 3. So the science station is secretly developing bioweapons, right? So that's really cool. Again, random tables. Then you get a sample sector map here, which is nice. So if you wanted to use this, you could, especially if you're running a pickup game, but it can kind of give you an idea here of what a sector might look like. You got pirate generators, again, which is great. Space station generators, Instaplanet generator at the macro level. So, when you need to develop the planets within your sector, there you go. You can get planet names here, which is awesome as well. And then some examples. And then you have the micro level as well. So this is where you start really honing in on different things within the system. And this is another dice drop system. So this is when you go to finally visit a planet. What are you finding on the planet, right? You have a character sheet to end this thing, which looks very similar to the Black Hack. Not as stylized. This one's very similar, so obviously you could write your own if you wanted to. But it's nice that it's included in here. and it gives you everything you need here. And then, you know, weapons, equipment, contacts, stuff like that. And then it has an Appendix N. And I always like the Appendix N, right? Because it gives you basically some pieces of inspiration. So movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, etc. So that's it, guys. That is essentially the Starrunner Kit. So like I said at the beginning, this book is essential if you want to run any kind of sci-fi or space opera game and you don't want a super complicated rule system to do it, or maybe you want a more familiar D20 system, this is great. However, if you're like, nope, I'm going to run my system, you know, I'm going to run it in GURPS, I'm going to run it in D20 Modern, I'm going to run it in whatever your system, Savage Worlds, Fate, whatever your system of choice, you can still use this supplement to help you with that. Here's the part that you've been waiting for. How can you sign up to essentially be in the drawing to win a copy of this? So Mike has been generous enough that he is going to offer a free copy to one winner of the PDF, same PDF that I have. What you'll need to do is you'll need to subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like on the video, leave a comment, and that can just be something along the lines of, you know, I would like the PDF, whatever you want to do, just any comment. And then what I will do is, of all the people that have commented, I'll go through and make sure that everybody is subscribed. If you're not, I'll go ahead and give you an option to subscribe. I will go ahead and, you know, depending on how many comments I get, I'll probably just roll a die to determine who the winner is. All we will need is your email. You can just send that to me privately. I'll send it over to Mike. He'll send you the Drive-Thru RPG link. You'll be able to download this awesome kit for free. So guys, this was great. I really hope that you enjoyed this review. Please, like I said, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys are doing. And if you want me to do more videos like this, more review videos, put that in the description, you know, in the comments. If you want to possibly get in a game that I'm going to run using this system, let me know that as well. All right, guys. So this has been fun. I hope that you guys have a great night and happy gaming.